Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another WWE Champions video. And, well, I already did a reviewing for Dexter Lumis, Mercy of the Buzzard. I have another preview with him today with the purple Piper plate that is now in the game. For anyone who doesn't know, yes, I did make a video already, a reviewing Dexter Lumis. However, that was before Purple Piper came out. It was about like 2-ish months ago, maybe at this point. And I said, if he gets Purple Piper, the triple purple build that I already really liked is going to get way better. Well, not only is that out, but I have it. So we're gonna roll with that, and it's going to be beautiful. Now, a few changes obviously have happened since that preview. Dexter is now height 4. Obviously, we'll take into consideration that and just keep in mind that I am height 4 now. We still only have the one moment that is going to be the multi-4, which is really all we really care about for him. The belt, though, is a bit different. We now have a 200% gem belt. I do have tier 6s. I meant to put 5s on, but we'll currently just do the 6s. Again, I am pretty confident I can figure out how much he'll do with a tier 5. So, obviously, yes, we're running that for the belt. 2% Purple Piper plate. Let's actually get into the moveset in general. So, if you haven't seen the build, Triple Purple was my favorite build. And it was with any Piper plate, but now that we have purple, and this is main color here for this build, it's going to be even better. So, Speed and Spine Buster, 6 charge purple, deals 660,000 damage, and make 48 random gems into Pyro, which will modify all gems above it into purple when broken by you. Very good move. All the board but one gem into Pyro. This is where, though, the real damage comes from. 6 charge purple slingshot suplex deals 715,000 damage and make 15 random Pyro gems in the multi of strength 10. This is so much, especially with moments and links and everything. Like, base 10 is very strong, so that's very useful. And then my suplex leg drop combo here, 6 charge purple as well, 501,000 damage, and choose 7 to make in the black. Hardcore, if the opponent's style is focused, deal 900,000 damage and force your opponent to skip their turn for 1 turn. Yeah, we don't have a reversal. Dex doesn't have one, but man, I can tell you that hardcore is actually kind of handy. And we're going to actually showcase it here against Zombie Sammy. It's actually a really beneficial thing to have. Entourage, I'm running King for all color 2, multi 2, and Mellow. You obviously could run Woods. You just need purple 4. Now, I know some people like to run, Mellow or Woods. They run Mosh, and instead of Brett, they would run Santa Hogan on top of Bo, and it would make a lot of multis. Personally, I think it's too much on the board to where it's a little too difficult to get maximum damage. So, I mean, obviously you can do that. Sometimes it will hit harder, but if it doesn't go your way, you're going to actually hit much less. So this one, I think, is just a little bit more, average damage, guaranteed in a way. You're not really missing out. It's more consistent. That's the word I want. It's much more consistent damage than running Mosh and Santa Hogan and Bo, rather than just running King. So I do prefer this way more. Yes, we are running Brett for 40 multi 60. That's crucial, and we are running Howdy here for multi 60 and 6 more multi. If you don't have Bo, don't threat. This build, especially Purple Piper, is still going to win no matter what. Without him, Leo obviously would be one that would work. If you don't have that, just run. I think Mem or a Zombie. I actually don't remember which one's better. Again, I need to watch Slim's video on that again and remember. But yeah, run one of those instead. So we're going to fight Sami Zayn, and I will run this in a tag match as well. And then we'll talk about kind of if I think the Purple Piper should be on Dex, because mind you, Purple Piper is a really new plate, and you're probably only going to have one of them. It depends on maybe who you should put it on, and I want to see if it's for Dexter or if we should put it on someone else. So our base purple are a lot more than normal. Yes, they are. Now, great thing I like about this stun move: one, it's infinite. If they do not have a stun immunity, you're technically recycling these moves every turn, which means they'll do pretty much infinite damage, or however hard you hit every single turn until they die and they can't do anything about it, which is awesome. Or if they have a multi or pyro counter, you could hit this move first, they're stunned, and then the reversals won't happen. Either or works very well. It's a very solid move to have against focused characters. Alright, pyros are on the board. Obviously, all but one. We are now doing 561,000 of purple. Now we're going to make 21 times 16s, just like that. Pretty bad board here, but that's fine. Again, 9.99. Obviously, we would do a lot less damage if I was running tier 5. It's fine. If we miss all of that, I think the damage is still going to be pretty strong. As well as just, it's fine. So this might be low end for the most part. That was still 230 million damage. So yeah, I mean, yeah, I missed. Look at how many multis I missed, and I still did 230. Pretty much at that point. So that's what I mean. He is going to hit very, very hard. I think tier 6 versus tier 6, height 4 versus height 4, especially if you have the second moment, which is the multi 50 gem 50. He's probably going to hit harder than a green Piper Ilya, which is kind of crazy to think about. Mind you, a normal Piper with tier 5, same height, we do about 120. Around there. Yeah, see, this is now a way better board. I mean, the purples just do so much. Alright, let's see here. Again, a lot of stuff at the bottom here, which kind of sucks, but we're going to try and... ooh, there's a black there. I didn't even look at that. We'll do that then. Now, obviously, I'm doing a swipe so that you guys can see the damage. Normally, you wouldn't need to do that. Make as much 4 break that you need to blow up the board as much as possible. But for this, to showcase the damage, because I'm hyped, we gotta do a swipe. Boom. There we go. That was a pretty good hit there. And yeah, 330 there. We just bumped up 100 million. Alright, we'll run that one more time in a normal match, and then we'll move on to a tag team. But yeah, I mean, the damage is a lot. I mean, yeah. Even, you know, height 4, metal stuff, 330, you take that down, you know, even another 100 mil, you're still doing over 200. You're still doing a lot. I mean, he's going to hit hard enough to kill pretty much anyone, and if you have the stun, and they're stunned forever, this just turns into a stun lock build. It really won't matter at all. It just really doesn't. Oh, look at that. That is much better. Still kind of bad there, but I can kind of do more with this, to be honest with you. So here we go. We got all multis. Not all of them were purple, but we got most of them. And that was almost 400 million. So, yeah. Damage is fine, even without all that stuff. All the extra added stuff that I have there, obviously that's not technically the real damage. But even if we cut that in half, we're still in we're just doing so much, it doesn't matter. Alright, tag team action here. For anyone who hasn't seen the reviewing Wyatt Sixes, the link is multi from moves will increase their strength by 6. Obviously, if you have seen those videos, you're pretty familiar with the tag team action here. So here we go. We're going to get another 6 more strength to Dexter. Just for having a Wyatt 6 in the back. You know, again, gems, Right now 245 because of some tech stuff. I don't think we changed a whole lot, but it's fine. We put the pyros down. We got 561. Now we're making 21 times 22. Now we're doing even more. Boom. So now we're doing 13.7 million on a multi times 22. Which is pretty unreal, to be honest with you. And we do their swipe. 411. We'll run that back one more time. Again, it's a bit more dependent, but he's still hitting so hard, it doesn't even matter that much if he misses a bit of them. He's still probably going to kill. I mean, even with, like, the health buff showdowns, a lot of people might just die. I don't know. I mean, and if they're focused, I mean, they're really screwed then if they don't have stun immunity. Right, so I mean, there's a lot there to look forward to with Dexter now, with Purple Piper. Boom. Ever since I've seen this moveset, I was like, man, imagine a Purple Piper on it. And now that it exists, it's unreal. Pretty bad board here, to be honest with you. Not at all what we want to see here, but I think if we do that, we got a pretty solid chance. We'll just kind of get rid of a bit of that, make it black, see if what happens there. $433. Yeah, I mean, that's a lot. It is a lot. A lot of damage output. Again, yes, not. I want to make it very, very, very clear. That is not actually how much damage yours will do. Yours will hit less than that, but still. I just want to run back one more time. These are so short of a match. You know, just give you guys something to just look at all these matches and all the different ways. You know, it just depends on how the board wants to cooperate with you, depending on where the multi draws. But you see what I mean by imagine another 5 more of these. It just, the board I think just gets too crowded. There's just way more likely ways for the bottom of the board to get messed up, and you're going to realistically then lose out on damage. And you never want that. You never want to lose out on damage. This is actually going to be a really weak hit here. Like, look how weak of a hit that was, and we still did 233 from that. Obviously, you can play it better because you don't have to swipe into it like I am doing right now to just showcase the damage. So more likely yours will be way, way, way more consistent than mine is right now because you just do a full actual 4 breaks. And if you need to do multiple, right? Don't worry about that too much. So yeah, I mean, that is Dex with the Purple Piper. He is very strong. But the thing I want to talk about then, right now, is how does Dex compare to other technicians with this? And should you, if you only have one Piper plate, should you put it on, well, Purple Piper, I should say. Should you actually put it on Dexter? Is he the #1 character for it? So let's start with the plate. How does he compare to other technicians? Well, that's a good question. I'm really trying to think who I think is better than him. There's a few in my head, but let's scroll down to the actual class here. I think it's at the very freaking bottom too. There he is. All right. So a lot of his main contenders are actually all right here. Ilya, Julius, and Grande. So I still think it's close. Ilya, especially here with the Green Piper, is just such a force to be reckoned with. He's hitting really hard. It's kind of tough to beat. However, reversal-wise, if you're trying to 3-click him, has more reversal than Dexter. And even if you're trying to two-click him, has the same reversal as Dexter. I think Ilya's a bit faster, especially with the two-click. I think you can make that argument for sure, even with the three-click. But two-click for sure, he's faster than Dex. This my only issue is he's still very counterable. At least with Dex, that stun, as long as we fight a focus, he gets a little bit more room and effort there than with Ilya. Ilya can really, really hit. So, that's kind of a tough one, to be honest with you, on whose I think is better there. I kind of just think it's who you got for. And great thing is, Dexter's in Titan. So it's more likely Dex, I think, to be honest with you. Julius, I'm just not the biggest fan of, particularly because he needs Tama. And I have two of them, and I just haven't wanted to put it on him. But don't get me wrong, he's going to hit. Tama is a trap, whatever. This is not bad. However, It's a Trap in general is a very rare plate. I only have one of them, and I don't think it's worth it really on him. I have two Tamas, and I might put one on him at some point, but I'm just not the biggest fan of him, even with his two-click. Yes, I think he's faster. He's got two reversals as well. And to be honest with you, the trap one I think is a lot worse than the pyro one, but Malty's up there, and his is only got to worry about Hall of Fame. So, Julius I think is faster. He's not going to hit nearly as hard, even with Tama. He's just not going to even get close. But speed-wise, yes, he is going to be faster. Grande is kind of a jack of all trades here. I mean, he's got really good unblockable with the Steel. He's a really good Titan character with this build. Normally instead of the ankle lock, I'd run Diamond Crossbody for feud and stuff, and just normal tours. But Titan, I really like this build. I really like him with Ring Royalty and stuff. He's got a great moment that actually gives him, I believe, it gives him health, which Dex doesn't have. He's also got a hot tag, which Dex doesn't have. So I don't know on that one. That's a tough call. He's not hitting as hard as Dexter. I honestly don't even think he's faster than Dexter in most cases. But he does have a lot of utility that I don't even think Dex has. So that kind of depends on how you feel. Another character that I want to talk about that's a little bit further down, he hasn't gone up quite yet, is Breaker. The S tier of this month. Breaker's a tough call too. I do like this build, to be honest with you. I mean, the bleed build ain't bad. His move damage is okay, but I think his bleed build or this build. And I will say, Breaker can share a belt with him, or he can run the green Piper as well. He kind of just wants a Piper. He's also hot tag. He's also, realistically too, if you want, you could run a reversal, which, Dex doesn't have. He's got the same reversals as Dexter anyway, so multi-pyro. So it just kind of depends on who you want. I think Dexter hits harder than Breaker does. However, who knows what Breaker will get in the future. Again, he might get a moment. Who knows? There might be other Vision people that he'll be really good with, like a Vision Logan Paul or a Vision Austin Theory. We don't know. I will say, though, Breaker does have a really good link with Vision with all color 5. That is one thing in Showdown that Dex does not get. He doesn't have an MP link, so minus MP is a big issue for him. The other text I want to talk about here, there's none here, all right, is these two right here. Jacob is really strong, to be honest with you. The gear that he just got helps him a ton. Again, health moment helps him out a lot as well. He's got really solid links. The zombie link, you're the zombie link, you're not a bad coach. He's got a lot of runs to run him. He does suffer though from gain MP and multi. So I will say reversal wise, he's not as I think he's a bit more counterable, honestly, than Dex. However, damage wise, he requires a lot less stuff. But if we are talking Dexter with Piper, kind of like him more, just a bit more. But Jacob has a lot of other things because he can two click. Dexter really can't. Jacob also doesn't really require as big of a plate as that Dexter does. And then Vanilla Ice is the other one here. And this John, when he came out, was so broken, and he still is to this day. 1 MP, easy move damage. He's got the sub reversal just like Jacob. He's got an alright multi build too. He's got reversals. He's got gain MP. That's really the only issue because even move damage, there's not a ton of people that he's got to worry about. I mean, there's a few. Don't get me wrong, but he's just gonna hit. He's still really good. He's not, I mean, no MP either is just such a bonus. So even with Purple Piper, I wouldn't rate Dex as number one. I still think you can argue Vanilla Ice as number one. You can put probably Jacob in there somewhere. You can probably put Grande, Julius. Like the problem is that Grande, Julius, Breaker, Dexter, Ilya, they're all so similar, kind of what they do. Like if we're talking damage people, Ilya and Dexter. If we're talking like you want to be fast, we got Julius in there. You can share a belt with Ilya and Dexter technically if you want to run a Greenway, but Breaker can also share the exact same belt with Dexter. So there's just a lot of options, and I'm not going to give you, because it's just such a hard rating system because they're so close. I don't think I could give you a perfect, like, this is number one, this is, top five. I do think he's probably in the top five. However, again, I do think his biggest perk is the fact that he is in Titan. I mean, so is Julius, but comma plate, it's a trap. There's a lot of other people I think I want to put it down, and Dex I think is really good with it. Now, speaking of that, I want to talk about, is Purple Piper the best place? It's not the best place to put a purple one on is Dexter. Because I will give you this. If you put it on Dexter, he can share it with Breaker. He's going to share it with Breaker. He's going to share it with also Tangaloa if you wanted to. But he can technically share it with 3 freaking people, which is great. And honestly, if you only have one plate, being able to share it with multiple people is a huge plus. Here's the thing. Breaker technically doesn't need a purple. He can run green. Actually, he can even run yellow. It really doesn't matter. So, for instance, Ilya Breaker can run it as well as Charlotte. It doesn't really matter. Lola and Dex for sure want a purple Piper. Lola, though, you're really never going to use Tonka Lola unless you have to. Even with the gear, even with the plate, you might be scratching 100-something mil. Maybe like 110. Dex is definitely the clear option, but it is a good choice to share with Breaker. There's a few other characters that you can definitely argue for it, and that's Jacob Acrobat. Mind you, I do think Jacob with everything probably hits harder than Dexter, even with the standard 3-click on his purple. However, I do think Dexter is better to have a purple Piper, at least if you only have one, than Jacob. Why? Jacob, there's no real Acrobat in the game right now other than him that would want this. So again, Dexter can share with other people. And Jacob's red build is good enough as it is, especially with Eyes of Judgment. It's not really a concern of mine. So that's not really an issue of mine. I'm sure there's other people that I'm forgetting. There's one person in the game that I do think, if you have them, is better than Dexter to put it on. And that's Joe. Joe just becomes such a force of nature, a freak of nature, if you will, with triple purple. I mean, the 250, the reinforced, the pyro, his reversal. There's no multi on it. It's quite literally just pyros and increase, because reinforced really doesn't have one right now. So he just can't fight Hoffs and the pyro people, which obviously with this plate you can't anyway. But like, yeah. And Joe's doing 250, 300, 3 charges all across the board here, by the way. So, as well as the fact, too, Joe, he's NXT and they revamped the link, so it's all color 4. I really like Joe with it. And the big thing, too, with Dex that we talked about is, he can share a belt. With Joe, he also can then share a belt with Solo. And you can run then his pyro build as well. And then he's doing well over 100. There's a few, I want to actually preview Solo because there's a few other movesets that you can run with him, like the reinforce with it, that I want to actually go in and talk about. But to me, that is the best actual place to put a Purple Piper is right now Joe and Solo. If you have to, then I think it's Dexter with Breaker, and obviously, then you can, if you want, you can definitely put on Jacob. I'm sure there's someone else that I'm forgetting about that I just can't remember off the top of my head. But yeah, to me, Solo and Joe are the two boys that I would run for sure. Joe is just a threat, and he's going to be so strong. And yeah, for me personally, with my one Piper, I'm about to get the removal, my skill plate removal back in 12 hours, and this is going on Joe for feud. So, yeah, I mean, if I get a second one, I'll probably throw it on Dex, but that's what I got. Now, I know this was a lot to take in. There's a lot of thought process going on here. This video has gone on way longer than I thought it would be, but it's fine, I guess. So while I'm not going to tell you shouldn't put it on him, and I'm not going to tell you he is the best tech, he's definitely not the worst tech. It's kind of up to you on, do you think you want to build him up? If you do have the Purple Piper, should you do it? Now, mind you, I will say this. If you do not have Joe, put it on Dexter and share it with Breaker then. Because Solo on his own, I don't think is better than just sharing it with Dex and Breaker. So don't have Joe, put on Dex then, I think. And then you got to talk about, okay, where does Dexter fit on your roster compared to Grande, compared to Julius, compared to Ilya, compared to all those other people? If you have Zombie Jacob, right? Or if you have Vanilla Ice, same thing. So there's a lot to think about. Obviously, that's up to you guys on your roster. For me, I really do like Dex. I used him in the last main feud, the last big feud, and he did great. There's a bunch of buffs, though, on him for Purple Gem and Multi, so I did like 600 million, but still very strong. He's going to hit very hard. I do actually kind of prefer him in feud than Grande. However, I think Grande is better than Showdown. So then it also just depends on Ilya and Julius. Again, I do think you could probably make an argument that Julius is better than him, and same thing, Jacob and Elias as well. So keep all these things in mind. I hope this video, well, it's kind of all over the place in terms of like what you should do, does give you a better idea. If you do have a Purple Piper, who to put it on in the long term, and if you get a second one, who to put it on then afterward. Because yeah, there's a lot. There's not a ton of choices technically for Purple Piper, but the people that can have it will really, really benefit off of it. So that is what I have for you guys today. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share. As always, I will see you in the next video. And thank you for watching.